Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to be reviewing Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. This is the Queens of the Stone Age's third record from 2002, commonly known as their breakout album or the most popular album. Queens of the Stone Age is an American rock band known for the distinctive sound that blends elements of hard rock, stoner rock, alternative rock, and even desert rock. The band was formed in 1996 by Josh Homme, who has kind of been the center player of the band. He is the primary songwriter, guitarist, and vocalist. Over the years, the lineup for this band has changed a couple of times, but Josh Homme has kind of been always there, the only consistent member. The band started their discography in the late 90s in 1998 with their self-titled Queens of the Stone Age album. It introduced their signature raw sound. While it didn't achieve mainstream success upon its first release, it did get the attention from music critics and garnered a pretty big and loyal underground fan base. As far as debut records, it was really everything you would want, because not only did it lay the groundwork for the band's future success, it also defined their sound, whilst being a very enjoyable listen sonically from the beginning. Moving on to their second sophomore record from 2000 by the title of Rated R. This album used the same ideas and similar sounds showcased, but has a more refined production and songwriting, I would say. Rated R helped the band inch closer to mainstream, as their songs are being played on alternative rock radio stations. I think on this album they took much more risks, and as a result of that, it sounded much more dark, raw, and just overall gave a more punchy listen. And all of that kind of leads to their 2002 record, Songs for the Deaf, which is our focus of this video, which sees the band combining these ideas displayed on their previous two records, but centering it down and into a relatively consistent set of tracks. This album would go on to become one of their greatest albums commercially, and a record that kind of put them on the map. One of the reasons I say that is due to the features on this record, which brought in much bigger names such as Dave Grohl from Nirvana, and at the time Foo Fighters. He was on the drums, and also Mark Lanegan, which was on the band that was kind of disbanded by that point, Screaming Trees. Mark Lanegan was on the vocals. The album was highly praised to the skies by both fans and critics. So the legacy of this album cannot be understated. It played a pivotal role in shaping the direction of rock music in the early 2000s, and just pushing the boundaries of rock music. Due to the commercial success of Songs for the Deaf, the band also gained the confidence to go on and try other things, exploring more ideas, which led to even more great records such as Era Vulgaris, and my personal favorite Queens of the Stone Age record, Like Clockwork. So the importance of this album is its own thing, right? But what about the music that's inside of it? Let's dig in track by track. Also, it's the next day. I didn't really want to make a video whilst being tired yesterday, so it doesn't really result in anything good, but we're still going to look into it track by track. Starting off with track 1, You Think I Ain't Worth a Dollar, But I Feel Like a Millionaire. The song really wastes no time in showing you what this album is really about. It starts with a little radio broadcast type introduction to the album, saying, "What's the saga? It's the Songs for the Deaf. You can't even hear it." Then it goes straight into a raw and aggressive rock sound paired with these screaming vocals that just, whoa. The guitar here sounds amazing. It's kind of a blend of fuzziness, distortedness, and distant to create a clean yet hard-hitting guitar tone. And throughout the album, you will kind of start to realize that this is the sound that changes everything, but also the sound that's really recycled and repeated throughout this entire album specifically. As far as the intro track by itself, it is great. It is, however, a little short, but it does pack a punch. Then we go on to track number 2, which is No One Knows, the most popular song, most streamed on Spotify. It's a song that kind of everybody can appreciate. It has a timeless riff that, in my opinion, gets a little repetitive after like 2 minutes. Even though the guitar section has some quirky licks here and there, it doesn't really change the fact that the bass riff is really rudimentary. The chorus sound great, however, but my favorite part of this song has got to be the guitar sections at around 3 minutes in, where it just like climaxes from all the build up from the past 3 minutes. Feels like even though 3 minutes of that same riff has been a little repetitive here and there, it all pays off in this climax. I will say, however, the solo that comes right after that though is a bit lacking in substance and just a little awkward. And overall, this song is just a little dragged on. It could have been a little shorter. If I were to give my opinion, I would say that it could have just ended right before the solo, right after my favorite part. I would be putting this on repeat. But overall, it's a solid song for sure, for sure. Moving on to track number 3 is First It Giveth, which starts with these menacing guitar riff that complements very well with the fast tempo drumming. That's one thing they got this nailed on this album, is just the way the guitar and the drumming be complementing each other very well. For this song specifically, for a verse, every single measure a new guitar is added and layered to the past guitars, which makes it more and more intriguing and just kind of keeps the coldness. I will, however, say that the chorus kind of takes away everything that was menacing in the song. And I just gotta say, the line, "First who giveth, better taketh away." Nah, bro. That is not a good line. Not for me. Then we move on to track number 4, Songs for the Dead. It starts with a pretty decent riff. The drumming is also pretty good. There's like a distant harmony in the background that really sounds like it is a song for the dead. It kind of sounds like a theme song for a graveyard if I ever been to one. The lyrics also go into death and suicide. I do think this song is kind of dragged on, like a lot of the others. Going on to track number 5, The Sky Is Fallen. The song is a great intro section and it's very tranquil. The guitar sounds a little choppy, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I'm not really sure yet. Overall, it's a pretty good song. There's not much really to say other than that. It's not really a standout track. And I think 6 minutes, again, is a little long for this song. Then we go into the 6th track, 6 Shooter. My gosh, the pow that was delivered with such an amazing explosion of noise. Really simulates getting shot by a gun, I would say. It kind of, in a weird way, reminds me of the band Daughters. And as explosive and raw as this song is, I really wanted more. It was way too short, considering that it was only 1 minute long. That's one thing I have to say about this album too, is a lot of the songs I freaking love are kind of just the 1 and 2 minute ones. Well, the songs that I kind of felt was just alright had to be dragged to like 5 or 6 minutes. Moving on to the 7th track, Hanging Tree. Possibly has the best singing on this album, in my opinion. You can tell it kind of just is more vocal focused rather than its instrumentals. I appreciate that this album tries to switch it up, and that's all I got to say about that, really. Then we move on to track number 8, Go With The Flow. The riff on Go With The Flow is really fast paced, but also at the same time, it's not very menacing like you would find on the song First It Giveth. In a way, it kind of gives off Lightning McQueen vibes. Like, I can't drive yet, but this is definitely one of the first songs I'll be putting on when I get on that highway, for sure. The chorus is great. One of the better written songs on this album, in my opinion, as well. One that I can just straight up understand, as opposed to other songs on this record that are just what is Blood talking about, you know? The last leg of the song is also very enjoyable. I just think it's a very solid song front to back. Definitely one of the greats on this album. So then we move on to track number 9 with Gonna Leave You, which is another song where everything kind of works together. A song that really flowed very well through and through. The chorus might be a tad lacking in just what it's saying, and it's just repeating "Gonna leave you." It's okay, not great. Let's just say everything else on the song is good. However, it's just a solid track. Track 10 is "Do It Again," which has this upbeat riff that I enjoy, but it also has the same signature guitar sound that is kind of repeated throughout the album. The chorus was lacking a little bit. Definitely not my favorite one on here for sure. I just think overall it's a pretty uneventful song. It's not my favorite. It's not the worst. Then we move on to track 11, God Is on the Radio, or God Is in the Radio. Same thing, same difference. The riff is pretty good. By this point of the album, a lot of the riffs just kind of mixed together, try to become forgettable. Because again, they use the same guitar sounds and just stuff like that. The chorus was a little choppy, didn't really flow too well. But perhaps the biggest complaint I have on this song are the 2 solos, which were really messy. In the second one especially was just really all over the place. And again, I thought this song was way too long, being consisted of 6 minutes. Again, it's always the longer tracks that I have complaints about, and the shorter tracks that just hit the hardest. I'm telling you. But that's just my opinion though, you know what I'm saying? Then we move on to track 12, which is Another Love Song, which has a guitar riff that it sounds shaky, like it has anxiety. I know that sounds a little weird, but just listen to it. You understand. Yeah, I gotta say, I personally don't know if I love it or hate it. I'm still deciding right now. I would personally love for the drums to punch a lot harder, however. I think it was just kind of a little absent on this song. It wasn't as present as some of the other songs here. The solo was actually pretty good. Something that hasn't been the greatest on this record so far. So on a song like this, I'm a little surprised that the solo is actually pretty good. Then we go on to track 13, A Song for the Deaf, not the Song for the Dead. This song has a very dark sounding bass, a very dark sounding instrumentation that kind of goes together very well overall, creating a very hopeless vibe to it all. Although I would say at the ending there's a lot of unnecessary stuff. Like it literally has a hidden outtake of a version of the song Feel Good Hit of the Summer, just except with all the lyrics removed, just laughter. Yeah, I don't know what the point of that was, y'all. I don't know. And now we have the closer, track number 14, Mosquito Song. Technically this is a hidden track listed, but it's not really hidden. I think everybody knows this song by this point. This is the most chill track of the album to close it off, which is really interesting because this whole album was really raw and aggressive. Just an interesting idea they had going for putting the least crazy one at the very end. This song is the most diverse song instrumentally, and it's actually quite beautiful in that sense. It's a really good refresher from the fuzzy, distorted guitar sound that we've heard over and over again by this point of the album. It's a clean acoustic guitar that just sounds very, very good. Not only does the acoustic guitar sound great, so does the flute, the violin, the pianos, and at one point the marching band. It's a very interesting and different way to end off the album, and I'm so glad this song exists. Might be my favorite one of the album, I don't know. So that's actually kind of it for the 14 tracks on the track list, but there is actually a hidden track at the very beginning, track 0, by the name of A Real Song for the Deaf. If you haven't heard it, you're not missing out much, okay? Trust me. It's really as advertised. It is a song for the deaf. You can't freaking hear it. To be fair, it's not completely silent the whole way through. It's not a minute and a half of just silence. Some bass and like weird digital sounds kind of appeared near the back end of this song. I'm not really sure what the point of this was. My theory goes that maybe it has to do with the vibrations that is emitted from the bass and the sounds. Therefore, the deaf people can possibly feel the vibrations of the music. I don't know. That's just my theory. But as far as the track list goes, that's all I have for going in track by track. So I think overall, I enjoy this album a lot. It has amazing riffs. It's a pretty consistent album. The choruses and solos are not the greatest, as I've stated before. Well, no, actually, some of the choruses do pack a punch. A lot of the others are just way too simple. Some of the standout songs are either just explosive, the short 1 minute songs like 6 Shooter, or maybe something tranquil with a lot of musical genius, like the outro Mosquito Song. Even though most of the album uses similar ideas, there's still a few tracks here and there that give this album a little diversity as well. My favorite song has got to be Mosquito Song, but second for sure is going to be Go With The Flow, the Lightning McQueen song. And as far as least favorite song, there's not really a song on this album I can say it's just straight up bad. But my least favorite song is probably going to be God Is On The Radio. There's just so many extra things and just dragged out for way too long. But yeah, this album is just really a group of catchy rock songs. A really pivotal album for music. It's an album that kind of, when I first listened to it, I think it's good, it's really good, but at the end of the day, I'm only plucking off like 2 or 3 of the best songs and putting those on repeat rather than most of this album. As far as rock records from the 2000s, this is one of the most consistent ones you'll find. But yeah, it's a very accessible album. Anyone who is an enjoyer of pretty much any form of rock, I think, will be able to enjoy this record. It does have its misses. Some of the deeper cuts feel a little less exciting than some of the ones at the beginning due to the repeated sound. But overall, I'm feeling a 7 on this album. So that's it for my review of Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age. Let me know what y'all think about this album in the comments. Also in the comments, tell me what you want me to do next, what you want me to review next, what you want me to react to next, anything you want me to do. With that being said, have a nice day. I'm going to see you guys next time.